If you're frustrated because you're working hard and your forehand just isn't improving, then firstly, I understand your pain because I struggle with my forehand for a long time. But secondly, in this video, I'm going to explain what's going on and what you can do to finally fix the problem and start to develop the sort of forehand that you really want to be able to hit. Now, what this comes down to is, at the moment, your eye to hand and eye to foot coordination isn't good enough to play a higher level forehand. Now, I know that sounds harsh. I know that, but it's true. If you had the eye to hand and eye to foot coordination, if you had a higher skill level and you're practicing regularly, you would already be playing a better quality of forehand. You would be gradually improving and improving and improving the more you practiced. But when it stops and you plateaus, that's when you max out on your skill level. That's when either the visual side or the coordination side is preventing you from doing something that you need to do to hit a better quality of stroke. For some players, it's more about the vision. For some, it's more about the coordination. But honestly, with the players that I've worked with, and there's quite a lot of them, there's just about always pretty obvious visual and coordination deficits that are very easy to correlate with the thing that they can't do within their stroke. So what I want to do to help you understand this is break down the forehand stroke. We'll go through it step by step by step so you can start to work out where this might be happening for you within your forehand. So we're going to start with a split step, hopefully landing just after our opponents make contact, and we're landing just after our opponents make contact so then we can use the elastic in our muscles and react and move and set up in position as quickly as possible. But here's where it goes wrong. I mean, forget the fact that a lot of players don't do a split step. The next place it goes wrong is that a lot of players can't react fast enough. So if you're slow to prepare, you find that you're not taking your racket back until it's crossing over the net or bouncing on your side of the court. This is what's going on with you. That's a visual issue. Well, potentially you might be a slightly higher level because it's all relative. If you're like playing at the 4-5 level, you might not be preparing quite as late as that. It might not be that extreme, but you do prepare a little bit too slowly, which is why when you play a 5.0 player or someone that can get a little bit more pop on the shot, it's hard for you to maintain that level of rally. So we've got the visual reaction speed, then we've got our movement to the ball. So the problem here is every single shot that we hit is different. We have to be able to predict where the ball is going, and then we have to move to it. So we've got the visual side, visual prediction, depth judgment, spatial awareness. Can you judge the speed of the ball? Can you predict what's going to happen when it bounces off the court? And obviously a lot of players fall down there. That's why they're either too close or too far away from the ball. And then we've got the footwork patterns. So tennis uses a lot of unusual footwork patterns, and I've got a ton of videos that teach them, but it still doesn't help a lot of players as much as they would ideally like, because their coordination isn't good enough to actually use the footwork patterns. And then we get to the swing itself. And that's obviously going to be a combination of visual and coordination, because firstly you have to start your swing based on how far the ball is away and how fast it's traveling, height of the ball, etc. Then you have to make your swing. Now here we've got the sequence of the kinetic chain. So can you drive through your hip and your torso and your arm in the correct order? One, then the next, with the right timing in between, so that you can build up that racket head speed efficiently. Or do you have kind of inefficiencies within that kinetic chain so you can't swing quite as smoothly? So we've got the kinetic chain itself, and then we've got the adjustment based on the ball that you're dealing with. Sometimes it's going to be lower, sometimes it's going to be higher, sometimes we're going to have to manipulate our swing path. So sometimes we can meet the ball out in front, sometimes we're going to have to meet the ball behind us, which is why you see, or further back, that's why you see kind of pros using the buggy whip. And that requires a tremendous amount of coordination. You have to basically adjust the swing speed and path of swing on every shot. And if you don't have the coordination to do that, it really kind of maxes out the quality of shot that you can hit. And then kind of the final piece of the puzzle in terms of consistency is watching the ball through to contact. And this is something that a lot of players struggle with, either because the visual side, maybe their eye movements aren't good enough, or maybe the coordination just isn't good enough to allow them to keep their head still as they're swinging at faster speeds. So this is the stuff that's preventing your forehand from improving. And as I went through that, hopefully you were thinking, which one of those applies to me? And there was at least one or two areas where it makes sense that, okay, this could be going on. Remember, it's relative. The visual and coordination requirements at 3.0 are very different to 4.0, very different to 5.0, very different to 6.0. This is what maxes players out. The good news though is that you can actually change your visual function and your coordination. You can train and improve them using simple brain-based training drills. To help you with it, I've created a free tennis vision starter program. Just going to show you a series of vision drills to help you with your eye movements, which is going to help with reading the ball and especially with your ball tracking. So it's going to be a fantastic starting point to help you break through the plateau on your forehand. I'll place a link up there and I'll place a link down in the description so you can get hold of this free program. I've also got a masterclass I want to let you know about. So it's going to go into a lot more detail about brain-based training. It's going to go into more depth about the visual side of things. It's going to teach you about how you can improve your coordination, which is really the key to being able to make the technical adjustments. And it's also going to teach you how you can use this stuff to improve focus and concentration and decision making and emotional regulation, the mental side of the game that holds so many players back. So if you want to check that out, link is up there and link is down there as well. Now, hopefully you are going to take this video with the intent that I made it. I'm not telling you this to put you down and tell you you suck. I'm making this video to bring your awareness to the fact that we can change and do something about our skill level. I had to go through this for myself. Like I said at the start, my forehand was always my problem shot. I basically didn't have good enough timing to hit with power. So I was a grinder for most of my life. I just relied on being out on court, floating the ball back or getting the ball back as best as I could. It allowed me to beat some players, but when I came up against anyone good, they would just wipe me off the court. I tried coaching, I practiced for years, nothing changed. But then when I started to learn about the brain-based training, I realized I had pretty major visual deficits and coordination deficits that were preventing me from having good timing. Once I'd solved those, it completely changed my ability in my forehand and all of my other strokes, but obviously this video is about the forehand. So that's why I've made this video, to let you know that it's possible. The free vision program, fantastic starting point, but if you really want to improve your game, there's so much more we can do. Check out that masterclass. Okay, I'll catch you next time.